Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. How's everyone? So we are on a midpoint between the full moon and new moon. So we had the full moon in Capricorn exactly 1 week ago, and we are having the new moon in Cancer 1 week from now. So what was the theme of integration for you in the past week? Because we potentially got more ideas and more downloads with regards to something that was planted during the Capricorn season last year in December, during the Christmas time. So I feel that after the full moon in Capricorn, because we had quite a big build up coming up towards this full moon in Capricorn, a lot of aspects were taking place, and there was quite a lull afterwards. So after the full moon in Capricorn, I feel it was a point of really digesting that which came through and what we potentially discovered or what was illuminated to us. The only two aspects we really had going on from other planets was the exact inconjunction between Mars and Neptune, which was already active during the full moon in Capricorn, and also we had sextile between Mercury and Uranus. But apart from that, the only planet, the only celestial body in the sky that was very busy making a lot of aspects was the moon, transiting through the sign of Aquarius, Pisces, and then on Saturday, moon moved into the sign of Aries, where it is still today when I'm making this video. So this week is starting to be much more busy because we are preparing the energies again, building up for the new moon in Cancer taking place. And this is a very important day, the July 17th next week, because this is the day when the lunar nodes will change signs. So the north node will move into the sign of Aries and the south node into the sign of Libra. And this lunar sign change is something that happens every 18 and a half months. So it is very important day, but I will talk about that more during my video about the new moon in Cancer. In this video I want to more focus on the energies which will be present with us this week, because there is much more happening this week than it was in the past week. And today, right off the bat, we have a change of the sign from one planet, and that is Mars. So Mars is changing from the sign of Leo into the sign of Virgo. But actually, even there, Mars will not remain for very long, because it will move into the sign of Libra on 27th of August. So it seems that the planets are moving very, very quickly now. Mars will become the ruler of the North Node on the 17th of July, when the new moon takes place as well. And this is very important because Mars is our instinctual desire to take an action, to go after something. It's also the sign of the new beginning. Aries is the new beginning. This new cycle is beginning. And also Mars is how Pluto actions itself consciously, because Pluto is a subconscious planet. So Mars will be the planet we will be paying a lot of attention to, especially once he will become the ruler of the North Node, which will happen next week. So today, which is Monday, we also have Mercury trine in Neptune retrograde. So Mercury is just about to move into the sign of Leo. For some of you, it will happen tonight. For some of us, it will happen tomorrow, which is Tuesday. For me, it will happen tomorrow morning. And just before Mercury does that, today it makes a trine to Neptune, which is very positive, harmonious aspect. Neptune is in retrograde mode now, so it's going over what potentially hold a sense of meaning and purpose for us up till this point. But now Neptune has the power to dissolve it. So it goes like, okay, well, let's retrospect and look at what has been going on in our life in the past months, and let's see, does this still hold a meaning for me or not? And now during this transit of Mercury through the sign of Cancer, it allowed us to tune into our inner communication. So what was our intuition telling us? What are our feelings telling us? Potentially a lot of triggers from the past might have been activated, because Cancer is all about our family, our origins, our ancestor line, is also about our ego identity. And I feel with everything else that's going to be happening, and also this new moon in Cancer building up, I feel that perhaps a lot of us have the sense of mistaken identity. Like, are we still who we thought we were? So I feel that during this transit of Mercury through the sign of Cancer, potentially we might have been much more attuned to the possibility that maybe the person I thought I was, I am not that person anymore. So now Mercury, just before moving into the sign of Leo, it's making a positive aspect, trine to Neptune retrograde. And this is our opportunity to potentially acknowledge, like, does this still feel genuine to me? Is this still who I am, or is this someone I used to be, and now it's time to let go of this identity, of this ego identity, and start this new cycle, which will allow me to follow my sense of purpose and destiny, because Mercury will move into the sign of Leo, and Mars is just moving from the sign of Leo into the sign of Virgo today. And Mars, actually, just before it does so, it makes a exact in conjunction to Pluto. So there is a blind spot, something we don't know, something we don't see. And I really feel that because Mercury will be the ruler of Mars as of now, until Mars moves into the sign of Libra, when Venus will become the ruler of Mars. But at the moment, as of today, Mercury is becoming the ruler of Mars, and therefore we are paying attention to Mercury. And Mercury is trining Neptune, so saying something needs to be let go of, something needs to be dissolved, because it's no longer holding a sense of meaning and inspiration for us. It's dissolving. And now Mars is making in conjunction to Pluto just before it moves into the sign of Virgo. And what does this mean? Is there is a blind spot, like, yes, we want to break free from the structure and be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and be our own boss, and all these kind of things, be liberated when obviously Pluto moves back into the sign of Aquarius. But in order to do that, we need to take the sense of responsibility, but we also need to know who we are. So I feel that with this in conjunction, because Mars was going through the sign of Leo, trying to like pump us up, like, okay, there is this sense of purpose and destiny, let's go, let's do it. But there is this in conjunction going on, which is telling us that, okay, but I might not be fully clear about what this purpose is if I don't know who I am, and if I might be having the sense of mistaken identity. Like, maybe I thought that I was this person and this was my purpose, but now things are changing. Sun is shining onto Cancer, so it's letting us acknowledge that, is this still who I am? Is this still what makes me feel safe and secure? Do I still feel at home in myself and in my current circumstances? So that's why I feel this in conjunction is very prominent. And also right after, Mercury will make an opposition to Pluto. So again, there is a point of integration like this, which we have acknowledged during Mercury's transit through the sign of Cancer, which we had the opportunity to feel into. And I mean, I don't know how about for everyone else, I can only speak for myself, but a lot of emotions has been coming up for me. A lot of things of the past came back to the surface, and I was like, well, is this still serving me? Do I still want this to be part of my life, to go from now onwards holding this memory or having this memory to drag me down, or make me feel stuck or something? So I feel that this opposition between Mercury and Cancer and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is again reminding us perhaps what is this part of the past structure, past definition, which yes, at the time it made us feel safe and secure, but maybe it does not anymore. And now right after, Mercury will be moving into the sign of Leo, which, like I said, for some of you will happen tonight. For some of us, most of us, well, for me, it will happen tomorrow morning. And then Mercury, as soon as it moves into the sign of Leo, it will make a square to North Node, to the nodes, because it's in opposition with Pluto. We know that Pluto is actually making the square to the lunar nodes this entire year. Currently, it's still squaring the nodes, being in the sign of Taurus and Scorpio, but soon the nodes will change. So then the resolution node will be the North Node in Libra. So it's to do with relationship, it's to do with the society, it's to do with the other, it's to do with externalizing our sense of everything, power, identity, what we need, what we believe, who is in charge, everything. So now Mercury moving into the sign of Leo is trying to help us to understand, because it's the communication, Mercury is the communication, that who is actually in charge of our sense of purpose and destiny. And if we do want to feel that, okay, I am in alignment with who I am, I think it's very important to distinguish this difference between what is our ego saying to us and what is our heart saying to us, because Mercury in Leo will be encouraging us to connect with our heart, because, the heart, the inner child, the gateway to the higher self is Leo, because Leo is our inner child. But also it could be the sense of ego, so which one is the one in the driving seat? Is it our intuition or is it our ego? And now Mercury has gone through the sign of Cancer, so it tried to help us to understand the difference. Like, okay, this is your emotion, this is your intuition talking to you. And now Mercury will be going through the sign of Leo, so it might be like, okay, now the ego might want to take charge and go like, okay, well, I don't care, this is what I want, let's do it. So there has to be a balance. There has to be this That's why there is this opposition, the point of integration. Like, do we understand the difference? Who is actually like running our life? And our ego is there to protect us, but it can only protect us based on the information that was being fed to it. And now, who fed the information to it? Was it my intuition? Was it my higher self? Or was it someone else? You know, the structure, someone else, someone external of ourselves that is trying to tell us, you know, do this, value this, believe this, and, you know, like, you're not really in charge, which is not true, because now Jupiter is in Taurus. Jupiter is trying to teach us that actually you need to trust yourself. You are the one that decides what is your belief system, because it comes from you, you know, Taurus, like what you connect it to. So anyway, so I really feel that this Mercury square in the nodes, and from the point of Mercury, because Pluto is squaring the nodes in opposition to Mercury, so the resolution is the south node. But from the point of Mercury, now tomorrow when this is happening, the resolution will be the north node. And the north node, at the time when this square is taking place, it is still in the sign of Taurus. So it's literally like on a 0 degrees on some minutes. And this is like the culmination, because the North Node is culminating its transit through Taurus. So literally, what have I learned about myself in these past 18 months? About my sense of self-worth and my sense of, self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Do I trust that I have everything I need to create what I need, to manifest my world, my life, yeah? And then this Mercury is squaring these nodes, and it's just moving to the sign of Leo. So it's this sensitive inner child saying, okay, so do I trust myself enough? Like, now I've gone through the sign of Cancer. I was trying to feel into what needs healing, and I was trying to reconnect with myself emotionally, connect with my intuition and all that. And now Mercury moved into the sign of Leo, which is a fiery sign. And I mean, as I mentioned before, you can cook your lunch with the fire, you can burn your house. It's the same, yeah? But it just depends how conscious we are about how we're using the energy. So now Mercury will be moving through the sign of Leo, and it will remain there only for 2 weeks. I mean, it will move on the 29th of July. It will move into the sign of Virgo. So Mercury again is very fast. Mars is very fast. Mercury is very fast. And as we remember, Mars spent like forever in Gemini last year. It was stuck there for 5-6 months. And Mercury was the ruler again. And now Mercury once again is the ruler of Mars. But Mars is going through the sign of Virgo. And that is again telling us about this. We need to discern. We need to become competent. We need to learn what it is that we need, what tools we need to accumulate in order to feel that we are in charge, that we can make choices, right? Because also Virgo is a mutable energy, so it's continuously changing. It's not like you learn something at the beginning of your life when you go to school and that's it, you're done. You don't have to learn anything for the rest of your life, because as the time is changing, we continuously need to learn and adjust, and that is Virgo. Otherwise, there is a sense of crisis, like, oh my god, I'm outdated. I don't know what I'm doing here. So anyway, so we're paying attention to Mercury because, of course, Mercury is the ruler of Mars, and Mars is our instinctual desire to take an action, and Mars will become the ruler of the North Node as of next week. So Mars is very important. Mars will be very important for the next year and a half, and Mars can be the soldier. Mars can be angry. Mars can be frustrated. So that's why it's important to channel this energy of fire in a constructive way. And for us to do that, we need to truly take charge of who we are. So we really like with this, especially Sun is still transiting through the sign of Cancer. So it's really about this acknowledging, what is my identity, and is this who I am, or what I was projected onto? Because with this Cancer, and that's why it's so important, and I know a lot of people I follow are talking about this ancestral healing, because understanding where we came from is allowing us to understand who we are and why we are the way we are, and now we consciously understand it. We can make a choice to change it if we want to, or heal or integrate it or whatever we want, but until we understand what's happening, is the subconscious that running our life, and we don't have much of a power over that because it's happening unconsciously. So again, going back to this Mercury squaring the nodes tomorrow, and it's in opposition with the Pluto, which is like this point of integration, and Mercury is pointing to the North Node, which is, like I said, in Taurus. So it's this culmination of the transit of the North Node through the sign of Taurus, and it's telling us, okay, it's the same thing. In order for you to go and follow this sense of purpose and destiny and be happy and make your inner child happy, How much did you learn about yourself? Are you actually trusting yourself? Do you feel that, well, whatever will happen in the world, I have everything I need to rebuild my life again because I am the asset, I am worthy, and I deserve to have this life that I desire. So Mercury is pointing to this North Node and saying, okay, well, what is the culmination? What is the lesson? What is the story that you learned in these past 18 months about yourself and about your sense of survival? Like, do you trust yourself that you can survive in these times or not? Because it's in Leo. So Leo is like, okay, well, we're going to go after the sense of purpose and destiny, whatever it is, whatever I identify it is. But Mercury has just come back from the sign of Cancer and is saying that, okay, but do I know what it is? Do I know who I am? So again, for me, this whole thing is talking about potentially mistaken identity. Like, am I really who I believed to be? So now Mercury is helping us to understand that, and that's why it's squaring the nodes as soon as it moves into the sign of Leo, because it's making us to acknowledge that, because it's the square that requires, this is actually the last quarter square, because the nodes are moving anti-clockwise, clockwise, in opposite direction to the planets. So the north, because Mercury conjuncted the North Node in the sign of Taurus. So this is, actually no, it's the first quarter square. It's very tricky with the nodes because they move in the opposite direction. So so this is, it is the first quarter square, so it requires us to take an action. So again, this is an opportunity for like acknowledging what did we learn when Mercury was in the sign of Taurus, what did we learn during its transit, in April time and stuff, what did we learn about ourselves, especially during the eclipses, because now we're thinking back to eclipses, which we had the double new moon in Aries, which was, again, as I said, it was the activation of this change that's happening this whole year. And of course, we'll see even more of it once the North Node will move into the sign of Aries. And this is the opportunity for us to even maybe think back, like, okay, what has been seeded during the eclipse season in April and May for us, and now we are maybe having a deeper understanding of that. And now Mercury is squaring these nodes, and the resolution is the North Node. So Mercury is saying to us that, okay, well, did I take an action on what did I learn? Because this first quarter square is the crisis in action. So it's like, okay, I need to do something. I need to change something. And as I said, Mercury has just come out of Cancer. So it's like, okay, now I have this understanding. Now I felt into it, and now I'm in Leo. So what am I going to do about it? Yes. And at the same time, Mercury will square the North Node. At the same time, Mars, that is ruled by Mercury, will actually trine the North. Mars will trine the North Node. So Mercury will square the North Node because Mercury is in a fixed sign, and the North Node currently is still in a fixed sign, but Mars is already in a sign of Virgo, and it's the Earth sign, and the North Node currently is still in Taurus, which is the Earth sign. So it's trining the North Node and sextile in the South Node, which means that Mars is telling us, like, okay, well, now I have this understanding, Mercury is squaring these nodes, so it's creating this tension, this needs for adjustment, needs to take an action, like needs to do something. And this Mars is saying, like, okay, well, if I know what it is, then I can go and become competent. I can go and learn that, because Virgo, I can accumulate the information. Also Mercury is the communication, is the gasoline of the information. And then Virgo will discern. Virgo will like organize it, like, okay, is this what I keep? Is this what I don't want? Is this what I need to learn? Is this what is not relevant? And stuff like that. So I feel with this square to the node by Mercury and trine to the North Node by Mars, who is ruled by Mercury, it's both are talking to each other. They both talking to each other. So literally Mercury is passing on the information to Mars, and Mars is saying, okay, I'm waiting here to hear from Mercury to know what is the next course of action, like what it is that I need to do, because Mercury is being pushed because it's a square. It requires us to take action, and is in opposition with Pluto, which requires a point of integration. And now Mars is just like waiting there in Virgo, because mutable sign is like, okay, well, it could be anything, it's mutable. It's like, let's just hear for more clarity, like let's just wait for more clarity, hear what Mercury has to say to us, to communicate to us. And this square between Mercury and nodes is happening just before. So Mercury squares the nodes first, and then Mars will trine the North Node, and then Mars will go like, okay, well, now I have this communication for Mercury. I know what it is, because we will feel it. We will feel it in our body. We will feel it like, in this, we will either feel angry, because it's Leo, like the fire. I will either feel angry and frustrated, or I will feel joyful. So I will know what it is. or I will know by feeling angry what I need to do in order to feel joyful. And then this message will be passed on to Mars in Virgo, and now Mars has this 6-7 weeks, right, to help us to learn what it is that we need to know, to like take an action on this, which tool we need to accumulate. Because with Virgo, it's, as I said, it's about learn and adjust, accumulate information, organize it, and then based on the experience, I can then discern like what am I going to do. And it's also with Virgo, I mean, there is this possibility for the crisis, because like, oh, I'm not perfect, I don't have everything organized, like, oh my God, Virgo. But also the higher vibration of Virgo is the competency, the self-mastery, the like being organized and having these skills to discern. Like that's the main point. Like based on this previous experience, now I understand what's going on and I can discern. But it's also the ability to decide what it is that needs to be done. Like because with the Mars in Virgo, it's like, okay, let's be practical here. What do I need to learn? What skills do I need to gain? So I really feel that this is definitely like communication between one another with these two guys going on. So I feel that this main theme literally this week started with Mars changing the sign, Mercury changing the sign, following a few hours later. And this whole week is about Mars and Mercury. So these two guys are literally like behind the scenes, like, okay, let's organize this, behind the scenes, like what needs to be done, like also like Leo is a fire sign. So Mars like was doing really well in Leo. But now Mercury is in a Leo, so he's like, okay, well, I need to look up to what this, what Sun is doing as well, because Sun is still in Cancer. Sun is the ruler of Leo, and Sun is still, feeling into things. Like, okay, well, based on what these two guys are doing, there is a communication going on from, Mercury to Mars. Mars is taking an action on that, and let me feel into that. Okay, I'm feeling into that, like what's going on here, like what's going on. So, and also between Cancer and Virgo, there is a sextile. So, of course, Mars will sextile the Sun at some point. So, yeah, it's very interesting what's been going on and what is going on this week, because this is all preparing us for this nodal shift. And so we'll have the new moon in Cancer going on. We'll have the nodal shift happening at the same time. And then we'll have these 3 squares between Pluto and the nodes. So this is all preparing us for that, because Mars, as I said, once these nodes will move into the sign of Libra and into the sign of Aries, Mars will become the main actor. Because up till now it was Venus, because Venus was the ruler of the North Node, and it still is until for another week. But then Mars will take over and will be, okay, Venus, like it was all this receptive feminine energy, and then Mars will take charge. And also with Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius next year, it's all masculine energy. So now is the opportunity for feeling into things, receiving information, and then it's like, okay, based on what I now know, what am I going to do? Because at some point we'll have to take an action. Okay, and then follow up. Wednesday, Sun will square Chiron, and we had a lot of activation. We actually had Mercury square in Chiron, only recently, only a few days ago, and then we have now Sun square in Chiron. So again, Sun is illuminating to us in Cancer. Very likely, potentially, the past patterns and the ancestor line and that which has been taught to us, which has been given to us as a tradition, as a sense of value and destiny, and is this potentially misplaced sense of loyalty, because with this Chiron in Aries, as I said, this is a collective wounding, and the collective wounding is with regards to giving ourselves permission to go into this new direction, to start this new cycle, which could be completely different from our ancestors, from our parents even, or anyone. And there is this sense of feeling of guilt and shame, because between Aries and Virgo is in conjunction. So there is this feeling of guilt and shame, like, okay, well, I want to go into this new direction, but I don't feel competent. There is this insecurity. And also I feel guilty because I'm like, well, I'm betraying my ancestors or something. So in many times, people don't actually make a change in their life because there is this sense of loyalty that, oh my God, if I'm happy or if I'm rich or something, then I'm betraying my family because they weren't or something. So I really feel that this is what this square on Wednesday between Sun and Chiron will be especially maybe about. And it could be connected to our family. It could be connected to our ancestor line. It could be connected to our past memories, or it could be just connected to ourselves. Like, okay, like I got so attached to certain identity, like maybe, I don't know, I was a lawyer all my life. Well, I wasn't, but maybe some people were. And now people might get to like midlife crisis, like, you know, to their Uranus opposition in their 40s, and they go, I don't want to do that anymore. It doesn't make me happy. But there is this strong identification that, oh my God, but I've always been this. And it's even harder if there is a family line. For example, if there is a family line of lawyers or doctors, because this is usually what happens, and then this one person goes like, okay, well, maybe that's what I should do. And then they get to their 40s and they go, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not me. And then there is this feeling of guilt and shame, like I want to do something different, but everybody in my family was a doctor or a lawyer. And now if I do something different, I'm betraying the family line, the family tree. And this is what the sun squaring to Chiron is doing. It's saying to us that, well, I do want to go in this new direction, but now the sun is helping us to understand that, well, actually, this is maybe not the right direction for me. And that's what I mean. This whole week literally is talking to me about this sense of mistaken identity. Literally, this is what it feels to me. This is the energy I'm tapping into for the entire week. That there might be this sense of confusion because, of course, Mercury made a trine to Neptune and Neptune is retrograde. So there could be this sense of confusion, but sometimes that's good because it stops us in our track, in this complacency of this, like we are on autopilot, we just keep going, we just don't even stop and think or feel or anything and reevaluate. But now Neptune is going retrograde, Pluto is going retrograde, Saturn is going retrograde. These are big forces that are making us they're stopping us in tracks, slowing everything down and making us to really rethink things and refuel things and reevaluate things, all these and the week started with Mercury. That was the first aspect that happened. Mercury, big aspect, of course, Moon is doing a lot of other aspects, but Mercury trined Neptune. And that was like, okay, well, what do I understand about myself, which I didn't before, because now I had the opportunity to feel and connect with my emotions, and our emotions were screaming because now Mercury, while it was going through the sign of Cancer and Sun was in Cancer, there was no other way. We became much more sensitive to our emotions. We were paying much deeper attention because Mercury is our communication. So when Mercury is in Cancer, we feel into things. We don't just, like, okay, never mind. And that's how the week started. And now, midway through the week, we have the sun in a sign of Cancer, making a square to Chiron. And Chiron is in Aries, and the ruler Mars is now in Virgo, which is again communicating to us, like, okay, what is the next step? What do I need to do? This Virgo, what do I need to learn? What do I need to adjust? How can I discern? How can I become more competent or more in charge? Because also Virgo is making a trine to Capricorn. And Pluto is now in Capricorn. So eventually, at some point, just before Mars will move into the sign of Libra at the end of August, it will make a trine to Pluto. And Pluto is still going to be in retrograde. And this is again a positive aspect, like there are certain adjustments that need to take place with regards to past, especially this cycle of Pluto in Capricorn, this since 2008 up till now, that we need to take an action on that. But first we need to identify what it is. And that's why I feel with this Mercury now going through the sign of Leo, it will really help us to understand it even on a more like a personal level, because it's like the sun is like our inner child, is like our heart. But I feel it's again very important to discern the Mars in Virgo. Is it our heart or is it our mind? Is it our ego mind telling us that, oh no, don't be stupid, you've always been a lawyer, everybody's been a lawyer, it gives you a good life, it gives you a status, it gives you money, all these kind of things. But this heart will say, but does it make me happy? Because Mercury in Leo will be trying to connect us to our heart, but it's this constant battle between our mind and our heart. And which one wins is the one you feed, right? It's like the two wolves. So I really feel with this sun squaring Chiron on Wednesday, this will be the story. Like, okay, looking like what got me to this point and how did I identify myself? And is this still who I am? And is this attachment to this identity preventing me from making the changes and to go in this new direction? And if I do want to go in this new direction, because actually between Sun is in Cancer and Chiron is in Aries, so there is the last quarter square. It's because Sun is the center stage, so this is the need for liberation. This is like, I want to break free. I had enough. I want to break free. So this Chiron is, like square. There is a square between Sun and Chiron. And this Chiron is saying like, well, I just want to have this new opportunity for a different life, for this life of desire, the life that I desire that would make me feel happy, that is that trine, like everything that was going on through the sign of, while Mars and both Venus and Mars made a trine to Chiron, because we know that we have to go after what is our intuition and our instinct telling us to do in order to find that sense of purpose and destiny. It's not going to come from someone else. It's not going to come from the other. So really this square, I feel, is again just deepening this week's theme, which is about this really finding the true sense of who we are. So listening to our heart and not always our brain, just what our mind is saying to us, because it's just based on the database of the previous experiences. And if you want to change your life, if you don't want to have the same experience as you always had or as your family always had, then you just have to be brave to take a step into unknown. And that's what Chiron in Aries is like whispering to our ear, like it's okay to take a step into the unknown. But then Sun is squaring it. So again, Sun is in Cancer. So it's saying that is this that attachment to your identity or this loyalty to your family's suffering or family's tradition, or because this is how it's always been, is that what is preventing us from taking the leap of faith? So that is possibility. And actually at the time, Moon will be still in the sign of Taurus. So this is again telling us that you need to connect with yourself, with your sense of what is important to me, with my sensory experiences. And on Thursday, Moon will move into the sign of Gemini, and she will be there until Saturday. So Moon is also moving. We know Moon is moving quickly. And then on Saturday, the last main aspect that is going to happen this week will be this sextile between Sun and Uranus in Taurus. And this is again like the last crescent, which is definitely about breaking free and culmination and all this kind of thing. And this is perfect, because again it's about this the cycle of the nodes going through the sign of Taurus is culminating. So again there is the sextile between Cancer and Uranus, and it's saying, okay, now that I understand myself better, based on everything else that's going to take place this week, how we're gonna get triggered and how there's gonna be this need for identifying, and is this still who I am, and what do I need to do to become someone else and to have this different kind of life and stuff. And then on Saturday, Sun is gonna sextile Uranus and say, okay, well, what you learned during this week, because I allowed you to feel everything very deeply, because Cancer, you cannot avoid it. And now it's sextiling Uranus and saying, okay, this is the opportunity for healing this old trauma and this fragmentation, like dissociation from yourself, from who you were, where you were little, and when you were much more deeply connected to your sense of values and needs and what you need and where you wanted to go in life, what was important to you, were seeding this inspiration and these dreams, and then suddenly life happens, we got conditioned, and then we had to let go of that. And this associate from these aspects of ourselves that were already like in that dream, they were already living the dream. And now this Sun is sextile in Uranus and is saying, okay, well, this is the opportunity for healing that aspect, for breaking free from that aspect of the past, of the aspect of ourselves. So we actually completed this process of North Node traveling through the sign of Taurus. We actually broke free in a sense. We gave ourselves the permission to learn this lesson, which we had to learn about ourselves, our needs, values, our self-worth, and our sense of self-reliance and self-sufficiency, material self-reliance and self-sufficiency. And now while Sun is transiting through the sign of Cancer, is also the emotional self-reliance. So these two are connected. There's always going to be a sextile between Taurus and Cancer in the natural zodiac. And on the same day as this is taking place and Sun is being ruled by the Moon, Moon will move into the sign of Cancer. And it will eventually conjunct Sun, and that's going to be the new Moon, the new Moon in Cancer taking place on Monday. So yes, so on Saturday we have the Sun sextiling Uranus, which is a very positive aspect, but once again, it needs us to take an action. Sextile doesn't just happen. Sextile requires us to take action. It's a supportive, positive energy, but it just doesn't, the energy is there, but you have to take it. It's like somebody's offering you something, you have to take it. So this is literally what the universe is offering to us. The energy is there and you have to take it. And then there will be the new moon in Cancer taking place next Monday, which is for another video. And that will be the opportunity for redefining who you are, your identity. So yeah, guys, so this is what I got. So this is what I've been tapping into. And really, just pay attention to, maybe you are living the life of mistaken identity, of maybe that's not who you really are. So you just have to feel into, does this make me feel happy? Does this make me feel triggered? Does this make me feel angry? And once I identify all these emotions and connect with my inner child, because Mercury in Leo will definitely be bringing you a lot of messages from your inner child. But again, which one do you allow to make the decision? Will it be this your heart telling you, or will it be the mind overriding the heart and telling you? And based on what you decide, you will then pass on information to Mars, and Mars will take the step towards learning what it needs to learn and doing what it needs to do. So yeah, so I feel that this is what might be present for us energetically. This is what we might be experiencing throughout this week as the theme. So yeah, prepare, guys, because this is definitely the story that is building up and leading us towards this new moon in Cancer, which is the opportunity to put the seed the intentions for becoming who you want to be, this new identity for yourself, which is setting yourself free from the guilt and shame of if I do what I feel is the right thing for me, I'm betraying my family, or I'm betraying my ancestors, because this is something I already talked about in my previous videos. Your ancestors would love you to be happy, because when they were here on this planet, they also forgot. They didn't know what they know when they in spirit form, when they know everything. They directly connected to the source, and throughout all these centuries, we allow the other to make us feel inferior and guilty and ashamed, the Pisces age, because we will never be perfect, because we can only be perfect in spirit form. So our ancestors didn't know. They did what they believe was the best thing at the time. They didn't know any better, but it doesn't mean that they don't want different for you, that they don't want you to be happy. So, now being on the other side, they're cheering you up like, hey, you're gonna be the one to break the pattern. You're gonna be the one to heal the family karma and set us all free, so you go in this new direction. But in order to do that, you need to know yourself. And that's why this week is a preparation for the new moon in Cancer, and all these energies, all these aspects, which I just named, are going to push us and create the energy needed for us to identify who we really are and who we are not. And Mercury going through the sign of Leo will be giving us messages from your inner child, from your higher self, making you either very happy and, joyous, or very frustrated and angry and unhappy. And that will just then tell you what it is that needs to be done. So then the Mars in Virgo can go and learn and adjust and discern. So anyway, guys, that's it. Have a wonderful week. We just started a brand new week, so set your intentions out there, whatever you want this week to be, because it's up to you. You are the creator of your reality. And I'll keep you posted as we go along. I hop on just to remind you of these aspects as they will be taking place. But I just wanted to let you know that this is the energy which is streaming through. And since the 777, there is this opportunity for spiritual and energetic upgrade. So again, it's up to you. Do you want to become someone new, or do you want to stay loyal to your past? So yeah, you decide, because Gemini always gives you options. So yeah, so there we go, guys. Much love to everyone. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to support my channel, and so I know that there is, somebody out there is waiting for my content to come out. And once again, I send you much love and have a great week. Bye.